Celebrating 60 years this year, Lee's is excited to open their brand new restaurant in Franklin with their grand opening celebration on Monday, June 1st, with the first 100 guests receiving a free 2-piece breast strip meal. A fresh, new look for your favorite chicken joint. Come join us at 400 Commerce Center Drive in Franklin on Monday, June 1st.
Helping a new driver get ready for their road test? Here's a convenient new way to make the most of your 50 hours of required practice driving time. The Road Ready Ohio app, available now at no cost to new drivers and their families. Road Ready Ohio keeps track of your driving experience together, providing feedback and safe driving tips. It even generates the documentation you need for the Ohio BMV. The Road Ready Ohio app, free to download in the Apple and Google App Stores.
Dayton's radio home for Buckeyes football. 1410 WING. Dayton's ESPN Radio. You want hot takes?
No, I'm not going to apologize to Ryan Day. Everything we said about Ryan Day up until the playoffs was true.
Not bad. Come on, Kenner. You can do better than that.
To be fair, of all the elite quarterbacks in the NFL, Joe Burrow is the least accomplished.
Getting better.
1,000,000%. I 1,000,000% believe that the Dayton Flyers are afraid of the Wright State Raiders. That's why they come up with every excuse in the book not to play them.
There it is. The hottest take of them all. It's the Justin Kinner Show, presented by Frickers, live on 1410 ESPN Radio.
All right, everybody, we are off and rolling here on a Thursday. Welcome in. It's the Justin Kinner Show presented by Frickers. Frickers, your home, of course, for fun, food, sports, and spirits. I hope everybody's had a great week. Excited to be with you here today. A lot to get into. We're going to talk some Bengals to open up the show. I know yesterday we talked a lot of baseball. We got more baseball coming up around the corner. Rob Manfred digging his heels when it comes to basically them going after baseball. I mean, Rob Manfred, I think, to me, is the best commissioner in all of sports. If he is able to bring a salary cap to Major League Baseball, I don't think that there is a commissioner out there who has ever done more for their sport than what he's done. And I think what Rob Manfred's already done to this point has just been monumental as far as the way he's turned baseball around over the last couple of years. And we'll talk about that more coming up around the corner. But like I said, we're going to open up with the Bengals. Again, I'm Justin Kinner, 937-518-1410. That's the number that you can call or text to jump in on the conversation. All right, I want to talk about Zac Taylor real quick. As you guys know, I've been pretty favorable towards Zac Taylor over the years. I think it's kind of crazy. A lot of you like to pile on Zac Taylor when I don't think if you had to rank the Bengals' biggest deficiencies and the biggest issues over the years, you would think that Zac Taylor is number one on that list. I don't even think he's at the top of the list. In fact, I don't even know if I would put him on the list. I mean, unless you have an Andy Reid, right? Unless you have, I guess some of you would put Mike Tomlin up there. I don't. But unless you have like one of those types of coaches, there's always a coach that you would think would be better than the coach that you particularly have at the moment. And to me, I sit here and I look at this whole Zac Taylor thing. Again, he's the only coach in the AFC North returning after last year. Kevin Stefanski out in Cleveland. Harbaugh leaves Baltimore and Tomlin retires. And of all the coaches coming back, especially after missing the playoffs for 3 straight years, it's just wild that Zac Taylor is the coach that is returning of all those coaches that left the AFC North. But as we sit here right now, I look at all the Bengals deficiencies, I look at all of their problems, and I don't even put him up or near at the top of that list. But I found this interesting. There was, it was on ESPN's. It was one of their NFL Insider shows, and they were kind of going around, and the panel was talking about the Cincinnati Bengals, and they were talking about all the potential changes that could come, if the Bengals potentially going to miss the playoffs for the 4th straight season. Now, I've already come out and said I don't believe that's going to be the case. I do believe that this is a playoff team. I think that they had a very aggressive offseason. It was a much-needed aggressive offseason, and the fact that they did as much as they did, especially in free agency, as I've stated before, it took so much pressure off of the draft. It took pressure off of the draft. It didn't put the team in a position where they had to go out and nail the draft. Man, if you don't, go nail this draft, the Bengals are in trouble. The Bengals could have failed this draft. I don't think it was a great draft, but who knows? They could fail this draft, and I don't think that's going to have an impact on the Bengals this upcoming season. What they did in free agency alone was enough to push this team over the top to put them back in that playoff conversation, maybe the Super Bowl conversation. We're going to talk about that more later. Joe Burrow, always confident. Not a surprise that he came out and said that this team is going to go out, compete, win a lot of games, and win a Super Bowl, and said it just so as a matter of fact. I'm not surprised that Joe Burrow came out and said that. That's his personality. That's what he expects, and I think that's what you as fans expect. Hell, I'm a hater, and I expect that when Joe Burrow's healthy and out there. So that's why when he is out there and they're not accomplishing what they should be accomplishing, I'm very critical. I'm Justin Kinner. It's the Justin Kinner Show, 1410 ESPN Radio. But Zac Taylor, every year, the wheels start to fall off. We blame Zac Taylor. And I think we blame Zac Taylor because we get bored with talking about how bad the defense is. Sometimes things are very, very simple. The Bengals have been bad the last couple of years because of, honestly, just two reasons only. The defense has sucked. Joe Burrow gets injured and misses games a lot. That's simple. That's simple. I don't think it's really anything other than that. Joe Burrow gets hurt and misses a lot of games, and the defense stinks. That's really it. To be honest with you, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think that this is that difficult to comprehend or to understand. To sit here and say, man, Zac Taylor has to go. I don't see why that would be a priority of the organizations at all. And I got to thinking, I'm like, man, it does seem like this upcoming season for Zac Taylor, it's like there has to be some line in the sand. What do the Bengals have to do this upcoming season for Zac Taylor to keep his job? Now, some say that the line in the sand has not been drawn, that the organization, we saw what happened with Marvin Lewis. This organization was more than patient with Marvin Lewis. And I actually admire that about the Bengals. I hate when teams just pull the plug on coaches because 1 or 2 years doesn't go your way. A lot of times there's been organizational mishaps that have led to the struggling of teams. And I think that's what's happened with the Bengals. I think Duke Tobin being a buffoon and being a moron, I think that has played a role in the Bengals not accomplishing what they need to accomplish. I think that the Brown family not really adapting. We thought they were adapting. We thought that this team was starting to kind of change its ways a bit. And they'll start to do a couple things that make you feel that way, and then they remind you just how silly they are with not catching up with modern times, with how to structure contracts and how to be aggressive. Now, every one of you saying, well, apparently you didn't pay attention this offseason. I am not going to let one good offseason erase the entire past of the Bengals, and especially the way the Bengals have approached things throughout the Joe Burrow era. Love the offseason. Doesn't change my opinion of Duke Tobin. It's going to take more than one offseason, of doing what they just did for me to really say, when he comes out and says that he's always all in. I have never once thought that the Bengals have been all in throughout the Joe Burrow era. I kind of feel like it is now. I do feel like after this offseason, I feel like they showed that they were all in with this offseason. Definitely don't feel that way last year or the year before or the year before that. But what do like Zac Taylor, if we bring the attention back to him, what do the Bengals have to do this year for Zac Taylor to keep his job? Is it a Super Bowl? Is it Super Bowl or bust for Zac Taylor to keep his job? Is it playoffs or bust? Is it AFC North Championship or bust? Or is it, is it really Super Bowl or bust? That's what I'm curious about. 937-518-1410. We're live on the Justin Kinner Show Facebook page. We're live, of course, on the Justin Kinner Show YouTube channel. Go and follow both of those. Check both of those out. Also appreciate you listening, whether it's at wingam.com, wherever you listen to your streams, of course, and of course right here on 1410 Wing AM. Fill in the blank or bust for Zac Taylor to keep his job. Is it Super Bowl or bust? Do the Bengals have to get to a Super Bowl, win a Super Bowl? Hell, Zac Taylor led them to a Super Bowl years ago. You guys gave him no credit. I saw other, hosts in Cincinnati in the past do this where they were talking about, look how dreadful Zac Taylor's record is without Joe Burrow. Yeah. And look how dreadful I wonder what the dreadful record of Andy Reid would be if he lost Patrick Mahomes and had a putrid defense. You know what I mean? Like, I wonder what the record of Bill Belichick would have been if there was no Tom Brady in one of the worst defenses in the NFL. I'm not saying Zac Taylor is the best head coach in the NFL by any means, but this gets lame. I think you're lame if you actually blame Zac Taylor for a lot of these teams' issues. The fact that this team continues to fight hard in the absence of Joe Burrow, which Joe Burrow constantly leaves this team with his absence all the time because he's just not always available. Every year he's hurt. Every year there is something. And I'm not saying he misses significant time every year. Even when he's out there, though, there is some kind of ailment that is leading to him not being able to play to his fullest, level. So I'm just not a big believer in blaming Zac Taylor for a lot of these teams' issues over the years. I think that Zac Taylor is a solid football coach. And I think that the reason that Joe Burrow, who has a lot of power with that organization, has come out and spoke on behalf of Zac Taylor, saying that he's all in on Zac Taylor. So if Joe Burrow comes out and says Zac Taylor's his guy, why don't you guys follow suit? Why is he not your guy? That's what I'm curious about. Is it because this team has missed the playoffs for 3 straight years? Do you really think that coaching has been the problem the last 3 years? I mean, this team collectively, defensively, has just been absolutely insanely, embarrassingly bad. And if you take your franchise quarterback, and you can make an argument Joe Burrow is the most skilled quarterback in the NFL. I think he could be. If he's healthy over the last 3 years, we probably view him outside of Bengals country even as the best quarterback in the NFL. So if you have a head coach who has arguably the best quarterback in the NFL and the worst defense in the NFL, if you take the best quarterback in the NFL off that roster, or you take, and he's no longer available, I don't think there's a coach out there that was going to do anything different with this Bengals team, period. So we're going to step away for a few moments. 937-518-1410. The phone lines are officially open. You can also text into the show, 937-518-1410. You can call, you could text, fill in the blank or bust for Zac Taylor to keep his job this year. Is it win the AFC North or bust? Is it just make the playoffs or bust? Is it Super Bowl or bust? What do the Bengals have to do under Zac Taylor for him to keep his job, do you think, after this upcoming season? Some of you are so critical of Taylor. You blame him for everything. I'm curious, what does he have to do this year for you to feel confident that he's going to keep his job after this year? We're live on the Justin Kinner Show Facebook page, YouTube channel, live on 1410 Wing AM. You can text, you can call, 937-518-1410. Fill in the blank or bust. What do the Bengals have to do for Zac Taylor to keep his job after this upcoming season? We'll get to your responses when we come back.
ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
Your local forecast today: foggy early, becoming sunny by the afternoon, a high of 79. For tonight, clear skies, a low of 53 degrees. And for tomorrow, mostly sunny skies with light winds and a high of 80. I'm Eddie Zellick for 1410 ESPN Radio.
1410 Wing AM, Dayton's ESPN Radio, powered by
Blake Maislin, Mr. 444-4444. When accidents happen, who do we call?
You call 444-4444 and you let us get started immediately.
Blake Maislin is the call to make.
That's exactly right.
444-4444, wantmore.com.
Cordell Transportation is looking for more weekend warriors. If you have a Class A CDL and would like to make some extra money casually driving weekend daytime routes, then Cordell Transportation is looking for you. Home daily, all loads round trip, no touch freight, and competitive pay. Full-time routes could become available if you're interested. Drive weekends at Cordell Transportation. Apply at CordellTransportation.com or call Ron at 937-277-7271. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Hello, this is Michael, and I wish to welcome you to Dave Arbogast Buick GMC service, located at exit 69 on I-75 in Troy, Ohio. Please join us between April 1st and May 30th to save big during our buy three, get one for $1 tire sale. New GM credit card holders may combine this offer to receive an additional $250 off on their first purchase over $500. Please visit us at davearbogast.com or call 937-980-0569 to speak with a certified service expert and schedule your appointment today.
KTH Parts Industries in St. Paris is now hiring and has increased the hourly wage of $22.48. That's right. KTH is looking for elite production associates, including press operators, overhead crane operators, and forklift operators. Apply today. KTH offers excellent benefits, including medical, dental, and 401k. KTH is a short drive from Bellefonte, Troy, Piqua, and Urbana. Upgrade your career and be valued by a company that really cares about you. Apply now at kth.net, an equal opportunity employer.
Sound familiar? At Mattress Firm, we understand there are many problems that can keep you up at night, like snoring, aches and pains, or sleeping hot. Our sleep experts have the unrivaled know-how to match you with a mattress that can help. And now at Mattress Firm, get any size mattress for one low price starting at $219.99. For the great sleep you deserve, visit Mattress Firm. We make sleep easy. Restrictions apply. See store or website for details.
Support comes from Amazon Business. Unlock smart business buying with fast, free delivery on millions of items and practical AI innovations that automate repetitive tasks so you can make smarter decisions faster. Learn more at amazonbusiness.com.
Giving your liver a spring cleaning is easy with Active Liver from New Nordic, the delicious daily detox that will keep you feeling your best. Search for Active Liver by New Nordic on Amazon or pick up some at your local CVS, Wegmans, or GNC.
Veterans and active duty service members, when your call to service ends, your mission doesn't have to. Go from GI to IT in just a few months at My Computer Career. Prepare for a high-demand career in cybersecurity, protecting people, systems, and institutions from real cyber threats. Cyber warriors are needed now. Will you answer the call? Go to mycomputercareer.edu/CWP to learn more. That's mycomputercareer.edu/CWP, an elite CompTIA certification partner. VA education benefits are available to those who qualify.
Now, back to the Justin Kinner Show, right here on ESPN Dayton, 1410 Wing AM.
Good Thursday afternoon, everybody. We are back. Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM. It is the Justin Kinner Show presented by Frickers. 937-518-1410. That's the number to call and jump in on the conversation. Talking about Zac Taylor on the show today. You know, it's interesting. You know, when things go really, really well for the Bengals, Zac Taylor gets zero credit. When things start going poorly for the Bengals, Zac Taylor gets all the credit. And you could sit there and say, well, yeah, that's how sports works. Not all the time. Not all the time. Like the Chiefs missed the playoffs last year. No one's blaming Andy Reid. Now, Andy Reid is one of the best coaches of all time. So maybe it's not fair to put Zach in that same comparison. But the bottom line is I don't believe that the problems over the last couple of years have stemmed from coaching deficiencies. I don't think that, you know, when they were having defensive issues a few years ago, I don't think it was a Lou Anarumo problem. I think it was I think it was a Duke Tobin problem. I think it was a front office issue. It was their inability to scout, they still have yet to prove that they could draft and develop at a high level on the defensive side of the ball. Someone argued with me the other day and said, well, Kenner, you give them no credit, but like, look what they did with Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. I disagree with that 100%. I mean, Joe Burrow was going to be great no matter where he went. Jamar and T were going to be great no matter where they went. I don't think that was, the Bengals drafted and developed these guys. Like, come on. You know what I mean? Like, some guys are just destined to be great. Those three were going to be great no matter who drafted them, and that's that. So when it comes to structurally how they put this roster together around everywhere, I mean, they have proven they can't draft and develop offensive linemen. Mims is the best one, and that's not really anything to brag about. I mean, I don't think he's been great. You know what I mean? Whatever. The fact that he's not as bad as their previous draft picks isn't something to go out there and pound your chest about. Defensively, horrific. They haven't been able to prove that they could do anything right when it comes to the draft and defense. So I think all these issues have been structurally and front office personnel issues, inability to be able to draft, find talent, develop, all that fun stuff. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. I don't blame Zac Taylor for these teams' issues whatsoever. And I always get a kick out of that every year. You know, last year, when Joe Burrow gets hurt again, like he always does, never a surprise when, oh man, Joe Burrow's hurt, going to miss some time. We're shocked. That's what he does. He wakes up. He's cool. Sometimes he plays some football, and the other times he's hurt. I mean, that's the day in the life of a Joe Burrow. Simple as that. When he plays, the Bengals are really, really good. When he doesn't play, the Bengals are not really, really good. Zac Taylor with Joe Burrow as his starting quarterback. 50, 34-1. 5-2 in the playoffs. Elite in the playoffs. When Zac Taylor and Joe Burrow get to the playoffs, they go to the AFC Championship game. When Joe Burrow gets hurt or the defense is historically bad, Zac Taylor and Joe Burrow don't get to the playoffs and don't get to the AFC Championship game. I mean, it's really that simple. The Bengals didn't miss the playoffs the last 3 years because of Zac Taylor. They missed the playoffs the last 3 years because they had one of the worst defenses in the history of the NFL and Joe Burrow can't stay healthy. This isn't rocket science. It's common sense. This one's easy. And, Zac Taylor's record of 50, 34-1 with Joe Burrow as his starting quarterback, of those 34 losses, 7 of those 34 losses came in his rookie season before he got hurt in that Week 11 matchup against Washington. And, again, missed the rest of the season. And we all know how bad. I mean, look, they won 2 games. They lost a lot of games that first year with Zach and Joe, but that's coming off of a 2-win season. That team had a lot of holes on it. So, as far as I'm concerned, fill in the blank. What do the Bengals have to do for Zac Taylor to feel safe and keep his job after this upcoming season? A lot of you felt that the Bengals were the silly ones for being the only one to keep their head coach after last year. I actually think it was smart. Zac Taylor has not been the issue for the Cincinnati Bengals. When he has his quarterback, they're the most explosive offense, one of the most explosive, if not the most explosive offense in the NFL. You cannot stop that passing attack. You just can't. Joe Burrow flourishes under Zac Taylor's play calling, by the way. It was interesting. Dan Orlovsky earlier today was on the Pat McAfee show. And Dan Orlovsky had a quote that I really, really liked, because a lot of people, when criticizing Zac Taylor, say that Zac Taylor needs to relinquish his play calling abilities. I don't think his play calling abilities are a problem. I really don't. People get mad because he doesn't run the ball enough. I just don't think they're a good running team. All right, you have Jamar. You've paid $70 million to 2 of your wide receivers. Not going to run a lot. You're going to pass a lot. And when they pass a lot, they're really, really good. So people want Zac Taylor to relinquish his play calling responsibilities. And I'll never understand that. If the organization is going to force Zac Taylor to give up his play calling responsibilities, which I do not think he should. I don't think his play calling is the problem. I think you should just fire Zac Taylor if you're going to take away his play calling responsibilities. Dan Orlovsky earlier today on the Pat McAfee show had a line that I really, really liked. He goes, I think if you're hired because of your play calling, you should not give up play calling. Now, technically, Zac Taylor was not hired because of his play calling, but he was hired because of his offensive prowess. That was during the stretch where if you shared an elevator with Sean McVay, you were going to get a head coaching job in the NFL. Zac Taylor was a part of that crop of head coaches. And a disciple of Sean McVay, leading one of the most explosive offenses in the NFL every single year when his quarterback's healthy, I don't think that's a surprise. That's kind of expected. Zac Taylor does his job. Even when Joe Burrow was out last year, 145-year-old Joe Flacco comes in, and the offense continued to click. Joe Flacco's averages last year in Joe Burrow's absence were actually better than Joe Burrow's numbers when he was out there last year. And no, that's not me stirring the pot or trying to, take a shot at Joe Burrow. But the fact that Joe Flacco, who the first 4 weeks of the season in Cleveland looked like he should have retired, you drop him in a functional offensive scheme with playmakers, Zac Taylor's scheme, by the way, and Joe Flacco looked like an MVP candidate in Joe Burrow's absence. And by the way, Joe Burrow's an uber competitive individual. Let's not act like Joe Flacco balling out in his absence didn't play a role in Joe Burrow just absolutely killing his recovery process. I think he saw what Joe Flacco was doing in that offense. I think he saw how dominant Joe Flacco looked in that offense. And I think he got a little uncomfortable. Not that he was worried about losing his job by any means, but he's a true competitor. He doesn't want to watch someone else drive his car. Simple as that. The bottom line is Joe Flacco doesn't go into it. I mean, we've seen Zac Taylor's offense without Joe Burrow last year. Joe Flacco stepped in. It was the most explosive offense in the NFL in Joe Burrow's absence. Zac Taylor's offense. So I'll never agree with anyone who wants to pile on and bury Zac Taylor. Tyler 5. Tyler, thank you for listening. Tyler messages. He's watching on the Justin Kinner Show Facebook page. Excuse me. Tyler says, I think I might be the only Bengals fan who actually likes Zac Taylor. Like the dude took us to the Super Bowl and 2 straight AFC championship games. Exactly. I'll never understand why he gets zero credit for that. Zero credit for that. Zero credit. And both times that he took the Bengals to the AFC championship game, the year that he took him to a Super Bowl, guess what? Joe Burrow was playing. Joe Burrow was healthy. And they had a solid defense. It wasn't a great defense, but that's what we've always said about this Bengals team. They don't need to have an elite defense. When you have an offense as explosive as Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins, you don't have to have a super dominant elite defense. You just need to have a functional defense. And that's something that they have not had for the last 2-3 years. And coincidentally enough, They've missed the playoffs for the last 2-3 years. And I'm with you, Tyler. Thank you for that, too. I agree with that. Like, Zac Taylor, think about like some of the egomaniac coaches in the NFL who like to make it a lot about them. Bill Belichick always made it about him. Mike Tomlin somehow was able to really just kind of, I mean, he convinced all of us that, the standard is the standard. But the standard was very average in Pittsburgh, but he convinced you because of his ego and because of his charisma, because of all of this. Like, it was about him. There's Harbaugh, the egos of the Harbaughs. Like, there's, Sirianni's a weirdo. Like, if you think about some of the top coaches in the NFL, it's always about them. Zac Taylor's quiet. He's a good guy. He doesn't throw guys under the bus. 2 years ago, when Jamar Chase is leaving his teammates high and dry in his dispute with the front office over the contract, he's kind of putting Zac Taylor in a tough spot. Zac Taylor's continuing to defend him while Jamar's throwing him under the bus. When things don't go well offensively, Jamar Chase throws Zac Taylor under the bus, and Zac Taylor doesn't freaking miss a beat. He continues to be supportive of Jamar, but continues to be supportive of the team. He says all the right things, no distractions off the field. He's just a good guy. I'm a Zac Taylor guy. I'm a Zac Taylor fan, and I think that he should not be one of these coaches on this list of, oh yeah, he should be, he should be fired after this upcoming season, or should not be the Bengals coach heading into this season. I don't think he's a top 5 coach. I don't think he's an elite coach. I don't really know what to make of Zac Taylor. I just know he's not a bottom 5 coach. I don't think he's a horrific coach, and I don't think that he should be fired. Joe Burrow, I can't stand his play calling. You mean the play calling that has put Joe Burrow in position to be the best quarterback in the NFL when he's healthy? The play calling that has this team, when healthy, winning a lot of football games? I mean, I'm sorry, but the play calling has allowed the Bengals with Joe Burrow to be 50-34-1. And as I said, 7 of those 34 losses came in year 1, Joe Burrow's rookie year, coming off of a 2-win season when they had so many holes on that roster and no Jamar Chase at that point. So there's that. I'm a Zac Taylor guy. I do not think that he should be canned. I think that he should, I think he deserves more credit when this team plays well. And I think that he deserves less credit when this team doesn't do well over the last couple of years. This team lost a lot of games last year because of how bad they were defensively. This team lost a lot of games 2 years ago because of how bad they were defensively. It was not because of play calling. Oh, his play calling's horrible. Oh, yeah, the defense that's giving up 178 points a game. Yeah, it's the play calling that's the problem in Cincinnati. Come on now. I'm Justin Kinner. It's the Justin Kinner Show, 1410 ESPN Radio. Louis Riddick talked about what changes could potentially be coming to Cincinnati if they don't make the playoffs this upcoming season. I thought it was kind of a wild take. I think it kind of lets Joe Burrow off the hook a little bit. I think more pressure needs to be put on Joe Burrow. We'll talk about that when we come back. I see your chats, your texts coming in. I'll respond to your text messages. We have a couple callers on hold. We'll get to all of you guys when we come back. It's the Justin Kinner Show, 1410 ESPN Radio.
If you need new roofing, siding or gutters, skylights or patio enclosures, if you're a homeowner or business and need someone you can trust, don't take a chance. Enhance with Lance. Lance Roofing and Siding has been satisfying customers since 1993 and hold an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. See Lance Roofing and Siding at their new location at 6903 Dayton Springfield Road in Enid. Call for a free estimate at 864-2722. That's 864-2722. Online at lanceroofing.com.
$5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right. My friends at Cordell Transportation are now hiring experienced Class A CDL drivers with excellent work history. If that's you, apply now. Cordell Transportation offers home daily dedicated lanes, no-touch freight, and brand new equipment, plus a $5,000 sign-on bonus paid over 18 months, paid orientation, and company 401k with company match. Apply online at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
For all of your tree needs, you've got to call Tackett Tree Service. Headquartered in Dayton and family owned since 1949, Tackett Tree Service delivers professional quality tree services to residential and commercial customers, including tree removal, pruning, trimming, stump grinding services. Plus, they have firewood and mulch for sale and even specialize in tree health care too. Call Tackett 7 days a week, 7 to 7, and emergency service 24/7. Call 937-630-2743 or see Tackett'sTreeService.com.
Not loving your AT&T or T-Mobile bill? Yeah, we've been hearing that a lot. Good news. Bring your AT&T or T-Mobile bill to Verizon and we'll give you a better deal. So get away from that unfortunate phone bill and get to Verizon. Run, ride, canoe. Whatever it takes, we'll be here. Bring your AT&T or T-Mobile bill to a Verizon store today and we'll give you a better deal on the best network. A better deal. No surprises. That's Verizon. Best network based on root metrics, best overall mobile network performance, U.S. second half 2025. All rights reserved. Must provide a recent consumer mobile bill and the name of the person redeeming the deal. Additional terms, conditions, and restrictions apply.
Support comes from Amazon Business. You can't rely on guesswork to run your business. With smart business buying, innovative AI tools optimize your purchasing experience, paired with delivery options built for business. Empower your team today. Learn more at amazonbusiness.com.
Giving your liver a spring cleaning is easy with Active Liver from New Nordic, the delicious daily detox that will keep you feeling your best. Search for Active Liver by New Nordic on Amazon or pick up some at your local CVS, Wegmans, or GNC.
Feeling stressed or overwhelmed? Not sure how to get the mental health help you need? We've got your back. Call the Mental Health Insurance Assistance Office at 855-438-6442. We'll help you figure out what mental health benefits may be in your health plan. No more confusion, just the support you deserve. Call the Mental Health Insurance Assistance Office at 855-438-6442.
Hello, this is Michael, and I wish to welcome you to Dave Arbogast Buick GMC service, located at exit 69 on I-75 in Troy, Ohio. Please join us between April 1st and May 30th to save big during our buy three, get one for $1 tire sale. New GM credit card holders may combine this offer to receive an additional $250 off on their first purchase over $500. Please visit us at davearbogast.com or call 937-980-0569 to speak with a certified service expert and schedule your appointment today.
Not loving your AT&T or T-Mobile bill? Yeah, we've been hearing that a lot. Good news. Bring your AT&T or T-Mobile bill to Verizon and we'll give you a better deal. So get away from that unfortunate phone bill and get to Verizon. Run, ride, canoe. Whatever it takes, we'll be here. Bring your AT&T or T-Mobile bill to a Verizon store today and we'll give you a better deal on the best network. A better deal. No surprises. That's Verizon. Best network based on root metrics, best overall mobile network performance, U.S. second half 2025. All rights reserved. Must provide a recent consumer mobile bill and the name of the person redeeming the deal. Additional terms, conditions, and restrictions apply.
Hey, John, why so glum? I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the third time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. Mycomputercareer.edu, an Elite CompTIA certification partner. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefit.
For years, Dayton has loved Lee's famous recipe chicken, that same hand-breaded, pressure-cooked perfection born in 1966. Celebrating 60 years this year, Lee's is excited to open their brand new restaurant in Franklin with their grand opening celebration on Monday, June 1st, with the first 100 guests receiving a free 2-piece breast strip meal. A fresh, new look for your favorite chicken joint. Come join us at 400 Commerce Center Drive in Franklin on Monday, June 1st.
Now, back to the Justin Kinner Show, right here on ESPN Dayton, 1410 Wing AM.
All right, everybody, we are back. It's the Justin Kinner Show here on a Thursday. Deb Gall. Deb is listening, and she is texting into the show, weighing in on our conversation regarding Zac Taylor and this upcoming season. You know, it's kind of, interesting when you think about the fact that the Bengals have missed the playoffs the last 3 years. And the Ravens move on from Harbaugh. Obviously, Mike Tomlin retires, and the Browns, despite, the bar was low, but, that was one of the most successful coaches in Browns history, and Kevin Stefanski, they gave him the X as well, right? Zac Taylor, the only, and the AFC North went from one of the longest tenured divisions when it came to their head coaches, and 3 of the 4 go, and the one that you expected the most of all 3 to go is back. At least you were surprised by that. I wasn't. I'm kind of a Zac Taylor guy. I think that I think he deserves more credit when this team plays well. And I think he deserves less credit when this team has not played well, mainly because of the deficiencies. Now, if this team plays poorly coming up this season with the defensive help that they've added, it's going to start to look really, really bad for Zac Taylor. But when we all have brains, I think we all can agree that this defense has been pretty trash. And we all have brains, and we know when you take one of the most elite quarterbacks in the NFL off of your roster, it's kind of hard to compete. When you don't have your franchise elite quarterback and your defense is one of the worst, if not the worst in the NFL, I don't know what you really expected Zac Taylor to do. I blame Zac Taylor. For what? For Joe Burrow being soft? For the defense? For the front office refusing to address the defense? What do you blame Zac Taylor for? Because when Zac Taylor has all the ingredients as a chef, he cooks. When they get to the playoffs, they're 5-2. When they get to the playoffs, they go to the AFC Championship game. When they go to the playoffs, they've made it to a Super Bowl. When they went to the playoffs, those back-to-back seasons, as we talked about, their defense wasn't elite by any means, but they were very, very good. They were very solid defensively, and we've always said that about this team, that this team doesn't need an elite defense for Joe Burrow to go win the Super Bowl. They just need an average defense, especially as this offense has matured over the years. The chemistry that has continued to somehow get better between Joe, Jamar, and T. That offensive line, we're going to talk about that chemistry, the fact that this is the first time in Joe Burrow's career where he's going to step foot on the field in week 1, hopefully barring any injuries, with the same offensive line that he did the previous season. He's never had that. So there's some continuity there. They have the most continuity of any of the teams in the AFC North. You know, from quarterback to wide receivers to the head coach to the offensive line now. Like, that's a big deal. Something that Joe Burrow and Zac Taylor and the organization just has not had in recent years. I blame a lot of the Bengals' struggles over the years on Duke Tobin and just the approach, the archaic approach that the front office has had for quite some time. They've been very slow in adjusting to the way that the game has progressed and changed over the years, from contract structures to free agency to their draft value. I mean, they're big measurables. They're all about the measurables in the draft, except for results. I mean, when you look at Shamar Stewart, that's a prime example. Like, if there was ever a prototype that kind of reflects the front office's approach to things, when it comes to the measurable approach, Shamar Stewart had all the measurables. I mean, he was Myles Garrett. I've always joked that, hey, you know, from a measurable standpoint, he checks off every box. He is Myles Garrett. His measurables are Myles Garrett. His production is Justin Kinner. Like, it just isn't there. But the Bengals' approach to measurables, it hasn't got him anywhere. And it's one of the reasons that they've missed the playoffs for 3 straight years, along with Joe Burrow's inability to stay healthy. So when you put those two things together, I don't think that has anything to do with the head coach. It has nothing to do with Zac Taylor. With Zac Taylor and Joe Burrow healthy, 50-34-1 is the record of the Bengals, and 34 losses. 7 of those losses, including the tie, came in the rookie year of Joe Burrow when they were coming off of a 2-win season, when they were horrific across the board. I don't put as much blame on Zac Taylor as what everyone else likes to do. People want to bring up the play calling. What's wrong with the play calling? The play calling that when Joe Burrow is healthy is MVP worthy. The play calling of an offense that when Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, T. Higgins are all out there, they're probably the most unstoppable passing attack in the NFL. That play calling. The play calling that even in Joe Burrow's absence last year allowed Joe Flacco, 185 years old, to come in and lead the most efficient offensive passing attack in the absence of Joe Burrow last year. That play calling, yeah, I kind of like that play calling. Oh, his decision-making. Yeah, well, I'm sure there's Chiefs fans that aren't a big fan of some of the decisions that Andy Reid makes at times. And I'm not comparing Zach to Andy Reid. I'm just saying there's no perfect coach in the NFL. Bill Belichick had deficiencies. My goodness. Definitely has a lot of them now. But the bottom line is this upcoming season's an interesting one, because I feel like we're going to be just, every time something doesn't go well, you're just going to blame Zac Taylor. And like I said, it might be more this season, it might be more appropriate to blame Zac for this upcoming season, just because of how good of an offseason this front office finally had. They were aggressive in free agency. The Dexter Lawrence deal was the explanation point of the whole offseason. Like, that was what really got everyone's attention across football, was that move right there, mine included. So if this team has a defense, and you have Joe Burrow healthy, Jamar T, and the offensive line back for the 2nd straight year for the first time in Joe Burrow's run, you know, this is probably the best offseason throughout the Joe Burrow era. So if things don't go well this upcoming season, I could see why it's probably time to get a new, fresh voice in there. But when I'm looking back at the last couple of years, I just don't get how, if you had to rank or list the problems that the Bengals have had, I don't know how you could even have Zac Taylor near the top of that list. So Deb is listening, and she texts into the show. Deb says, "Hey, Justin, this is Deb. I'm a Bengals fan, and my thoughts are that look how long it took the front office to get a good defensive player like Lawrence. I believe it will likely take a few more years before they change coaches." She says, "I agree with you that Taylor hasn't been the issue. Ownership has been, and will be until ownership changes." Yeah. Look, and we also know the Bengals, which I like about them, have been the most patient when it comes to their head coaches over the years, especially thinking back to the Marvin Lewis era. I mean, at the end, I liked Marvin Lewis. I liked that he brought an identity to the team. You knew who the Bengals were with him, but that was sometimes kind of the problem. You knew who they were with him. Playoff team, division contender, not a Super Bowl contender, couldn't win a playoff game. There's a certain ceiling. The ceiling for Zac Taylor leading the way has been a Super Bowl. He's been to multiple AFC championship games. 5-2 in the playoffs. You wanted to move on from Marvin Lewis because he couldn't win in the playoffs. Zac Taylor arrives and goes 5-2 in the playoffs, a Super Bowl, 2 AFC championship appearances. And now y'all want to move on from him because the front office couldn't provide them with the depth pieces that they needed in the offseason. They couldn't provide them with the defensive counterparts. When you have your quarterback and 2 number 1 wide receivers that you would ultimately go on to spend $130 to $140 million on for those 3 combined, you had them cheap in their rookie deals for multiple years and did nothing in those off seasons to take advantage of that. But let's blame Zac Taylor. So I don't know what the Bengals are going to have to do. I feel like for a lot of my listeners, you are Bengals fans, and I feel like unless this team wins a Super Bowl, when they get beat this year, because I know what a lot of you do. Like, I just watched it with the Cleveland Cavaliers. A lot of you do this. Like, well, I think if he gets to the AFC Championship game, he'll be fine. Or if he gets to the playoffs, he'll be fine. Just get to the playoffs and Zac Taylor is safe. You guys say that, but then we all know how this works because everyone said that about the Cleveland Cavaliers. Just get to the Eastern Conference Finals, and I'm happy with what the Cavs have done. But then the Cavs got to the Eastern Conference Finals, did not compete very well, and now everyone wants to blow the whole roster up and get rid of the head coach. Well, what happened to just get to the Eastern Conference Finals? That's all that matters. So I kind of don't know what to do with this segment here when it comes to Zac Taylor. Super Bowl or bust, AFC Championship or bust, at least win a playoff game or bust, get to the playoffs or bust, win the AFC North or bust. Like, what is that line in the sand for you to feel like Zac Taylor did his job? The bottom line is when the Bengals lose in the playoffs, if they get to the playoffs, the last game of this upcoming season, if it is in the postseason, you guys are going to blame Zac Taylor no matter what. Can't get it done. It's time for a new, fresh voice. That's why I feel like unless this team wins the Super Bowl, I don't think Zac's back after this upcoming season, unless the front office continues on their stubborn ways when it comes to that. I have no problem with the coaching change after this upcoming season. I just think it was foolish for people to want Zac Taylor gone after last year when I'm like, did you watch that defense? I mean, is it me or did anyone else notice that Joe Burrow was out for 2 months? What do you want a head coach to do? Kind of silly at the end of the day. I'm Justin Kinner. It's the Justin Kinner Show, 1410 ESPN Radio, 937-518-1410. You can call or text to jump in on the conversation. We're also live on the Justin Kinner Show Facebook page. Damon Hahn. Damon messages into the show. I wouldn't say I blame him. I just don't think he is in charge. Well, who is? What does that even? Damon, I don't know what that means. Damon says, it's Burrow, then Chase, then Kenny Blackburn, then the Towel Boy, then Zac Taylor. Based on what? I don't understand. Because, I feel like Zac Taylor doesn't have this. He doesn't. When he walks into the room, I don't think he has face. He's not the face of the room, right? And I think that's kind of refreshing about that. By the way, think about this. Tom Brady still had a lot left in the tank when he left the New England Patriots and maybe left another Super Bowl in success on the table because of the tough demeanor of the head coach and Bill Belichick. Sometimes the personality of the coach, but the ego and the personality of the coach clashes with the quarterback. You know what I mean? I think that because Joe Burrow, and I don't mean this in a bad way, Joe Burrow has an ego. He wears sunglasses inside. The guy has an ego, okay? I can't stand people who wear sunglasses inside, by the way, but that's besides the point. He wears sunglasses inside. He thinks very highly of himself. You know what I mean? Like he's a celebrity. Joe Burrow is now a celebrity in the National Football League. Joe Burrow has eclipsed just quarterback in the NFL. He's officially a celebrity. He has an ego. Jamar Chase definitely has an ego. And there's lots of egos on this team. I think Zac Taylor's temperament is why he is perfect to be the head coach of the Cincinnati Bengals. There's no clash there. Jamar Chase acts like a fool on the sideline when things aren't going well. And what I mean by not going well, this is why sometimes I'm not a Jamar Chase fan. There's a lot of times things aren't going well for the team, and Jamar Chase is fine with that as long as things are going well for him. But then when things aren't going well for the team and then aren't going well for him, then all of a sudden he has a problem with it. But he gets very, he has an attitude. All of a sudden he refers to Coach Taylor as Zach. I don't know. Hey, Jamar, what do you think needs to be done to kind of get you more touch? I don't know. Ask Zach. I find that very rude. I find that very pointed at him. And the fact that and you may say, well, that's the problem. The fact that Zac Taylor doesn't turn that into a problem. The fact that he can handle the ego of Jamar Chase, the fact that he can handle the ego of Joe Burrow. I think when people get mad that he doesn't have that commanding personality, walks in the room, I actually think that that's what works. I mean, you look at the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, I know they just won the Super Bowl a few years ago, but their head coach and quarterback clash. Their head coach and those players clash. Zac Taylor, his temperament, I think, is perfect for the sideline of the Cincinnati Bengals because of the egos. And egos aren't a bad thing. You're dealing with multimillionaire elite athletes who have been great their entire lives, who have never been told no. Like it or not, you need somebody that's going to be able to balance that while leading a team. And Zac Taylor has found a way to lead a team while keeping them in his back pocket. They haven't pushed him out. Joe Burrow has come out multiple times in defense of Zac Taylor. Adam, I hope you're well. Adam Sturwald. Adam, I hope I pronounced your last name right. Adam says, as soon as the Bengals made the Super Bowl and AFC Championship game, the standard rose accordingly, Super Bowl or bust. So you're saying for Zac Taylor to keep his job at Super Bowl or bust? Look, this team has, I don't want to say everything it needs, but it has what it needs. You know what I mean? I don't think that this team is perfect, but this team has pass rushers. This team has a safety now. That's not going to be an Olay safety. That's going to lead the league in missed tackles, right? No more, moving on from Stone and now obviously going out and getting cooked. They made a lot of the moves that they needed to. They got a veteran Super Bowl winning player to put in their to put in the secondary, right? They go get the best interior defensive lineman in Dexter Lawrence. You had a couple up, all pro guys up front. I like what the Bengals did. So they did a lot to pick up that defense. And as long as the offense is healthy, I think it's kind of a fair thing. I don't think they have everything they need, but I do think they have what they need, if that makes sense, nonetheless. But David, hope you're well. David Mann on Facebook says, I'm no Bengals fan, but if that Allen Lawrence defensive tackle tandem play at their peak ability, their D-line could actually be improved. The rest of the side of the ball, who knows? David, I think that side of the ball is already improved just by the addition of Dexter Lawrence. And I actually think that side of the ball is significantly improved because of Dexter Lawrence, because now I'm not heading into a season and staring at, Stewart and saying, you got to go do something. You have to be the guy. I think the fact that you went out and got Allen and Lawrence, I think it takes a lot of pressure off of some of the guys that they've drafted in recent years, because those guys did not have what it took to come in and be the guys. But they could be good complementary role players that could help with the depth of that defensive line. So that's why I love the Allen and Lawrence additions to that defensive line when it comes, to the Bengals defensive attack. I like it. I think that I think that they're significantly improved, especially from the defensive line as far as that's concerned. Damon messages back. He says, I feel like he's a good play caller, but calls plays to keep Burrow and Chase happy instead of what is best for the team. And I've heard that argument before. I think Shaw and I have gotten to that argument before because, he doesn't call enough run plays. But the thing is, why would you call a lot of run plays when you're constantly trailing in games? You're constantly in shootouts with teams. And your bread and butter is the ball in Joe Burrow's hands. And I feel like when you have the margin for error is so slim in a game, if you're going to lose a game, it's going to be because Joe Burrow loses that game. And he doesn't do that often. Joe Burrow hasn't lost them a lot of games when he's out there. The defense has. So people are mad at the play calling. I get what you're saying because I've leaned into this at times too, saying, well, maybe Joe Burrow likes Zac Taylor because he could bully him into passing a lot. But this upcoming season, with this improved defense, if the Bengals get out to a 10-0, 13-0, 14, 17-0, or a 17-7 or a 14-3 lead, and they're still dropping back 3 straight times, 1st and 10, 2nd and 10, if they're dropping back every time because they're one of they're at the bottom of the league when it comes to handing the ball off. And they have a good running back. I'm not as big a fan of him as you guys are, but he's a playmaker, right? And Chase Brown, he's a playmaker. But they've been near the bottom when it comes to their run game, but they don't lean into the run game. But the thing is, I think you have to look at it situationally. So this upcoming season, when they have those 17-7, 17-3, 17-10 leads, and they're still dropping back every play, then I'm going to be with you. And I'm going to say, you got to manage the game. But with this Ole defense, with this horrific defense that they've had for years, Zac Taylor has not just been managing the offense. He's had to manage everything as the play caller because I don't know if I can afford to hand off equally the same amount of times as we drop back to pass because we can't afford, drives where we come away with nothing. Even if we only come away with 3, we got to come away with something. So that's where we're at. I'm Justin Kinner. It's the Justin Kinner Show, 1410 ESPN Radio, 937-518-1410. I'll get to more of your responses when we come back.
1410 Wing AM, Dayton's ESPN Radio, powered by.
Support comes from Amazon Business. Free your team from time-consuming procurement tasks. Discover smart business buying where unmatched selection meets AI-driven tools to simplify complex processes so you can focus on what matters most. Learn more at amazonbusiness.com.
Hey, y'all. It's the Rocket Roger Clemens here. Spent a lot of time pitching heat. Years later, the pain in my joints remind me of those days, but I'm not looking to sit still, and I definitely am not interested in going under the knife. That's why I chose QC Kinetics.
Not just for elite retired athletes. QC Kinetics gives everyday folks joint pain relief using regenerative treatments that work with your body to help repair joint damage.
No surgery, no long recovery, whether it's your knees, hips, shoulders, or back. My friends at QC Kinetics will help you get moving again so you can get back to doing the things you love.
QC Kinetics medical professionals will look at your x-rays or MRI to determine if you're a good candidate.
I trusted QC Kinetics to help me feel like myself again, and I'm proud to recommend them to you.
Call QC Kinetics today and schedule your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 937-936-0325. That's 937-936-0325. 937-936-0325.
For all of your tree needs, you've got to call Tackett Tree Service. Headquartered in Dayton and family owned since 1949, Tackett Tree Service delivers professional quality tree services to residential and commercial customers, including tree removal, pruning, trimming, stump grinding services. Plus, they have firewood and mulch for sale and even specialize in tree health care too. Call Tackett 7 days a week, 7 to 7, and emergency service 24/7. Call 937-630-2743 or see Tackett'sTreeService.com.
Waking up drained? Mattress Firm sleep experts will help you find the right bed for deeper rest at the Memorial Day sale. Mattress Firm, they make sleep easy.
Cordell Transportation is looking for more weekend warriors. If you have a Class A CDL and would like to make some extra money casually driving weekend daytime routes, then Cordell Transportation is looking for you. Home daily, all loads round trip, no touch freight, and competitive pay. Full-time routes could become available if you're interested. Drive weekends at Cordell Transportation. Apply at CordellTransportation.com or call Ron at 937-277-7271. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Indeed presents hires you can't afford to get wrong, like customer service associate at a dry cleaning shop.
Yeah, hi. I'm here to pick up my suit.
Ah, yes. Here you go.
There must be a mistake. This is too small.
It shrunk a whole lot. Look on the bright side. Now you have a suit you can give to a child.
This is the job for sponsored jobs. This is what happens when you don't sponsor your job on Indeed. Next time, get matched with quality candidates with Indeed sponsored jobs. Visit Indeed.com/hire now and sponsor your job today.
My dad passed away unexpectedly. Of course, it was awful in every way, but we are very grateful that he had life insurance. So even after he was gone, he was still able to provide for us. And that's why I have life insurance for my family. Ethos.com. They make it fast and easy to get covered. It's 100% online. You get a quote in seconds. And you can apply in minutes. You get covered the same day.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/game. That's ethos.com/game. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required. Rates may vary.
Is your old mower more of a lawn ornament than a lawn machine? Stop fighting the equipment and start enjoying the weekend. Get to East Lawn and Garden Center in Urbana, where they've got the heavy hitters ready to do the work for you, like the precision of steel, handheld power, the innovative strength of Cub Cadets, or the game-changing speed of an Alto Zero Turn. Bring in your old equipment today, and they'll give you top dollar for your trade-in. Get the best brands and the best trade-in value in town at East Lawn and Garden Center in Urbana, where the pros go to grow.
In the military, the mission was clear. You knew what to do. Now, the mission has changed. Stepping into civilian life isn't about finding a job. It's finding your purpose.
I wanted a career that would leverage the skills and discipline I gained in the military. IT just felt right.
My Computer Career offers class schedules that fit into your life and skills in high demand. Put your VA benefits to work. Visit mycomputercareer.edu/CWP to jumpstart your IT career today. An elite CompTIA certification partner. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
Progressive Insurance. Insurance for motorcycles, boats, and RVs for protection on the road and on the water. See how much you can save at 1-800-PROGRESSIVE and progressive.com.
For some people, pain doesn't just hurt your body, it takes everything. That was Jay for 15 years.
I spent more time laying down in bed because even sitting on chairs hurt. I couldn't walk around, couldn't stand up straight. My pain got so bad, I was running out of hope, not just in treatment, but in life in general.
Then, just like you're doing right now, Jay heard a radio commercial right here in Dayton that led him to QC Kinetics and their regenerative treatments that go beyond masking pain.
Within an hour or two after the treatments, I felt like, 70% of what I was feeling was just sort of dissolved.
From surviving to living again. For Jay, that changed everything.
I'm able to do things. I get a chance to play with my grandkids. I'm physically not in that pain anymore because of QC Kinetics.
If you've been living in pain, this is your moment. Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation. 937-936-0325. That's 937-936-0325.
Plug in to great deals on electrical supplies now at Menards. We carry a variety of steel electrical boxes, from outlet and weatherproof boxes to wall plates and covers. Whether you're a do-it-yourself homeowner or a contractor, you'll find the right products to complete your project. Save big money on electrical supplies. Plus, check out our weekly flyer on Menards.com for more great deals happening this week.
Save big money at Menards.
Now, back to the Justin Kinner Show, right here on ESPN Dayton, 1410 Wing AM.
It's time to play my favorite game, Stick to Sports. I love talking politics, to be quite honest with you, just because I know it pisses people off. So there's that. Not really talking politics here, kind of. Look, we're all adults. We work with people who have different political beliefs than us, and I'd like to think that as adults, we may not like some of our coworkers' opposite political beliefs, but we find a way to get through the day. You would think that that's not the case based on how people react to when athletes and celebrities endorse whatever side of the aisle that they are on. This story really irritates me. It doesn't matter what side of the aisle I'm on, and I don't care what side of the aisle you're on. I just find this behavior, regardless of which side of the aisle anyone is on, very obnoxious. Okay. Jackson Dart, the quarterback for the Giants, is catching a lot of heat because at a recent rally, he got a chance to introduce President Trump. I mean, you would think I just said the F word right there. I mean, you say Trump's name and all of a sudden, things get a little uncomfortable. This was a simple introduction of President Trump for Jackson Dart. He didn't go up there and spew any political beliefs. He didn't weigh in on the border situation. He didn't weigh in on gas prices. He didn't weigh in on the war in Iran. All right. He didn't give his takes on ICE. He didn't do any of that. This is what people are upset about right here. Okay. This quote right here. What an honor. What a privilege it is to be here. And without further ado, I'm grateful, I'm honored, I'm pleased to introduce the 45th and 47th President of the United States of America, President Donald J. Trump. And that right there has led to a lot of national media members and fans saying that he needs to address his teammates and apologize. And that's the stuff that drives me nuts. I'm here to tell you right now, whether there's a Republican or a Democrat in office, and regardless of my political beliefs or your political beliefs, if I have a coworker that has a chance to go introduce the president of the United States, and that president might be the opposite political party that I am, I would still tell my coworker, that's freaking cool. That's freaking cool. I mean, it is weird that we live in a time now where you are vilified for anything that is patriotic whatsoever. There's certain promotions that we have coming up that are going to be, to help celebrate 250th, birthday of America. And, we've had internal conversations of, I know, but it's going to lead to this type of rhetoric on social media. And I'm the first one to tell my bosses, I don't give a damn. It's not the, I pledge allegiance to Trump, or I pledge allegiance to Obama, or I pledge allegiance to Biden or Kamala, or it's pledge allegiance to America, right? Like, I don't know why we have to take things and make them so complicated. I'm not a Giants fan. I don't have an opinion on Jackson Dart one way or another. But the fact that he is having to be pressured into apologizing, or he needs to go up and explain himself to his team, explain himself for what? So if there's a teammate of his that supports the Democratic Party and he gets a chance to introduce the next time a Democratic president, and he has a chance to go introduce a president on the Democratic side of the aisle, is he going to have to address his teammates in the locker room? I don't get this. I don't like this. I can't stand this. It's really ridiculous. And like I said, I'm not giving a political opinion here. I'm just scolding everybody that here's a story like this and says, wow, he's racist. Jackson Dart has to be racist. He's in a locker room with a lot of African-American athletes and he's up there introducing Trump. What? Gumby? I mean, you guys stretch like Gumby sometimes. In fact, Gumby couldn't stretch the way that you guys stretch things sometimes. You being, yes, I'm going to say Democrats. Sometimes it's some of you Democrats. And then Republicans don't act like you're all innocent either. You like to throw out the word snowflake a lot. Y'all are sometimes softer than snowflakes at times when it comes to certain things too. So I'm pointing fingers at both sides because both sides do this. I'm tired of it. I don't like imagine this, like Bengals fans, imagine if Joe Burrow was invited to the White House or to go speak at some event that Trump is at. Are you guys going to turn on Joe Burrow? Is Joe Burrow going to have to apologize to his teammates because if he does anything, and I don't know what side he's on, and I don't really care. I've always said this too. I hate how much celebrities play a role in elections. I don't know about you, but I've never once let a celebrity dictate what macaroni and cheese I buy. I've never let a celebrity, really convince me of what phone to go buy. What car? Oh, man, I was going to get this car, but that's Kevin Hart driving that car. I'm going to go get that car. No. So if I've never let a celebrity influence me on what phone to buy, macaroni and cheese to buy, what car vehicle to buy, what paint to use in my house, I sure as hell am not going to let a celebrity try to influence me of which side of the aisle I'm going to vote for. And that's the other thing. If you're a Democrat, has there ever been a celebrity that's a Republican convince you, I've been a Democrat my whole life, but I like that I like that actor from that show that's a Republican. You know what? Go blue. I'm going to go Republican now. I don't what? And vice versa. Like if you're a Republican and you see a celebrity you like that's a Democrat, has that Democrat celebrity ever convinced you to switch sides? No. I'm not a fan of this. I don't like it. Because if it's going to happen to Jackson Dart, it could happen to any team that we're a fan of with the player on it, and to just already start creating that kind of drama in the Giants locker room over something that is an honor. I don't care if it's a Democratic president or a Republican president. If you have a chance to go introduce the president of the United States, I don't see why that's a bad thing. I mean, I know it's a bad thing because the way we all act, but anyways. All right, I'm Justin Kinner. It's the Justin Kinner Show, 1410 ESPN Radio. That does wrap it up for hour number 1. Hour 2 coming up. We're going to get into some Reds talk coming up around the corner. Got some, Rob Manfred. I want to talk about Rob Manfred of Major League Baseball. I think Rob Manfred I think he's the best commissioner in all of sports right now, and I think that he might go down as the best commissioner in the history of sports if he can accomplish what he's aiming for. We'll talk about that when we come back to kick off the second hour. It's the Justin Kinner Show, Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM. I promise you we will stick to sports in hour number 2.
You think a ticket for not wearing your seatbelt is the worst that could happen. A fine, an inconvenience, a little embarrassment. But then comes the crash. There are injuries, a hospital bed, the long road to recovery, the moments you'll miss. Suddenly, a ticket doesn't seem so bad. That ticket? That was nothing. Click it. Don't risk it. Paid for by NHTSA.
Meet Matthew Preston. Inside his apartment, everything he holds dear is protected by Progressive's renter's insurance, like his laptop and a surprisingly valuable collection of baseball bobbleheads. Outside his apartment, his laptop is still protected, as are his bobbleheads, which he carries around with him for reasons no one knows. Renters, the limits of protection aren't just the 4 walls of your home. When you're in Progressive's Protection Zone, get a quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and third-party insurers.
Support comes from Amazon Business. Free your team from time-consuming procurement tasks. Discover smart business buying, where unmatched selection meets AI-driven tools to simplify complex processes, so you can focus on what matters most. Learn more at AmazonBusiness.com.
Giving your liver a spring cleaning is easy with Active Liver from New Nordic, the delicious daily detox that will keep you feeling your best. Search for Active Liver by New Nordic on Amazon or pick up some at your local CVS, Wegmans, or GNC.
2 guys drove to work. Neither guy wore a seatbelt. One guy got a ticket. One guy didn't. The same 2 guys drove home. One guy wore a seatbelt. One guy didn't. One guy made it home. The guy not wearing his seatbelt didn't. Don't risk it. Click it or ticket. Paid for by NHTSA.
Raise your hand if you're excited about feeling older faster than you should. No takers? Yeah, didn't think so. Ongoing pain makes you feel older than you are. But here's the good news. QC Kinetic patients here in Dayton are getting relief, feeling younger, jumping back into life full speed, and it didn't happen in an operating room. The QC Kinetic medical professionals use the latest regenerative treatments backed by real science, treatments that take the tiny, powerful healing tools inside your body, concentrate them right where you need relief. That's how Mike is training for a marathon instead of giving up running. Patrick's golf game is on fire again. Kathy walked around Disney with her grandkids. No pain. All real QC Kinetic patients. The sooner you start treatment, the sooner inflammation eases and the sooner joint damage slows down. Because no one signs up for feeling older faster. Find out if you're a candidate for QC Kinetic regenerative treatments. Your visit and consultation is free. 937-936-0325. That's 937-936-0325.
Do you want hot takes? No, I'm not going to apologize to Ryan Day. Everything we said about Ryan Day up into the playoffs was true. Not bad. Come on, Kenner. You can do better than that. To be fair, of all the elite quarterbacks in the NFL, Joe Burrow is the least accomplished. Getting better. 1,000,000%. I 1,000,000% believe that the Dayton Flyers are afraid of the Wright State Raiders. That's why they come up with every excuse in the book not to play them. There it is. The hottest take of them all. It's the Justin Kinner Show, presented by Frickers, live on 1410 ESPN Radio.
All right, everybody, we are back. It's the Justin Kinner Show, Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM. I want to talk about Rob Manfred and baseball coming up in a moment, but I thought this was interesting. Yesterday, we were talking about the NBA and how the NBA playoffs right now, NBA playoffs are good. I'm excited for the Spurs and the Thunder tonight. The Spurs trying to tie that series up and force a Game 7. Wemby, I think, is the most unique new NBA star. You know, there's always been that handoff in the NBA. You know, you had Bird and Magic that went into MJ, that technically went into like Shaq and Kobe, and technically the Spurs, right? Like there was the 2000s era had multiple dynasties in it. You had two Lakers, you had two different Lakers dynasties in the 2000s, as well as the Spurs dynasty. And then the Spurs dynasty kind of picked up again in the 2010s. But regardless, the NBA has always had like a handoff effect. Bird and Magic into MJ into Shaq and Kobe. And then, of course, it was the LeBron era, and then it's LeBron and Steph era. And then now I think Wemby is that next guy that has the most unique talent because of his size and just the unique style of which he plays. And he has an old school personality. Like he's getting in arguments and fights every game. What people can't stand a lot about today's NBA is just the fact that there just doesn't seem to be a competitive drive with NBA players like there used to be. MJ, there was all the talks that he would rip your face off. And now you have athletes who, for years now, it's just been all about, hey, I can't wait when the game's done so we can, take our shirts off and trade them. Yeah, that's real tough. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I can't stand, I don't feel like these athletes truly want to go out there and like, it's like because they're such close friends, they don't want to get the best of one another. And I'm not saying that's actually true, but it doesn't have to be true. It's how fans perceive it. I hate when athletes say, no, that's not true at all. What doesn't matter? You athletes are playing kissy face out there half the time instead of wanting to rip each other's faces off. MJ, all that during that era, I miss that. I miss that era of when you just felt like, man, these guys may golf and hang out together in the off season, but during the season, they can't stand one another. I miss those days. I do. I miss those days. I don't like, when athletes are, the fact that, Anthony Edwards with about 8 minutes to go in their elimination game last week or week before, he took the time to walk to the other end of the floor and shake all his pals' hand. It's like, shoot each other a text later. Act like you're pissed off that you just lost. What are you doing? I don't know. These athletes just do weird things today that it doesn't get me excited to watch. I don't feel like there's a competitive drive there. However, Wemby seems to have that. Wemby's not there to make friends. He's there to win and be the best and to be the face of the league. And I don't think he's there yet, but he's on his way. So I'm excited about that tonight. But the problem with the NBA, yesterday I was talking about the NBA right now reminds me of what baseball was for that 2012 to 2020 range, where baseball had a lot of really good players, but baseball just felt flat. It felt stale. And everyone kept saying, well, they need to market their stars better. And I still have yet, I'm not doing yesterday's topic, I'm just touching on it a little. I have yet to have anyone explain to me what that means. What does marketing, like, I feel like there's some things that media has just said constantly that we as listeners and fans just take and we regurgitate it. The bottom line is I don't know what that means. I don't think that my interest level in the NBA would increase if they promoted these athletes more. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, you can't just take athletes I'm not interested in, put them on TikTok, and boom, interested. Like, I don't think that works. You got to give me a reason to watch. You got to give me a reason. What's the hook? What's the and that's the thing. If you are promoting these athletes, and I mean, I really like that guy's game. I can't wait to tune in and watch. And I tune in and watch, and oh man, I just so happened to tune into a game on game 2 of a back-to-back, and he's getting a rest day. And now there's a phantom injury and he's missing time, and he's healthy, but this team's tanking. So now they're going to bench him for the rest of the season. Like, I think the NBA's problems go well beyond what baseball's problems were in the 2012 to 2020 era. Think about, like, anyone out there that disagrees with me, you're wrong. And I'll tell you why. I'm telling you right now, these athletes, they'll tell you one thing, and I don't care. They're wrong too. Oh no, we want to play. We want to win. Do you? It seems like every time there's a major NBA headline, it's about some athlete complaining about being forced to do their job and play. It's either that or it's an athlete, just the headline is LeBron refuses to take a pay cut to play for the Cavaliers. He shouldn't have to. I get that. But like, as a fan, I don't care. I don't want to hear that you refuse to take less money to go somewhere. My job as a fan is to be a fan and to get excited about the possibility of LeBron doesn't want to come back to his hometown team because of money when he's the richest athlete in the NBA right now. Like, again, people say don't talk about other people's money. You're a celebrity. You're an NBA player. We're not going to cross paths. I don't really care. I don't care about your financial situation. I don't care that, oh man, he's going to have to take less money to pay for how will he pay for his bills? I don't care about any of that. I don't care about these athletes' money. I'm tired of hearing about how they want to get more money and work less. I'm tired of hearing about tanking and losing. I'm tired of hearing about, load management. I'm tired of hearing about injuries. Oh, well, they can't help it. Again, another thing, I don't care. I don't care if an athlete can't help it. It's frustrating. Like, you know what I mean? Like, these athletes don't care about us fans, and I'm not saying they hate us fans, but like, we got to stop over romanticizing these athletes. And I think that that's the mistake a lot of us make is like a lot of you, I've stated this before. I think that there are 100%, I 100% believe this, that for the longest time we've had the debate, are there more Bengals or Browns fans in Dayton? I believe that there are Joe Burrow fans, Browns fans, Bengals fans. I think there are more Joe Burrow fans than Browns and Bengals fans in the area. I think Joe Burrow has a cult-like following. I think that a lot of you are more Joe Burrow fans than you are Bengals fans. Like, we over-romanticize these athletes to the point to where we just hang on every word and every picture and everything that they say and do, and it's nauseating. I don't do that. I don't over-romanticize these athletes or celebrities, and it kind of goes back to our last, there's people that I won't support that athlete because of who they support politically. I'm like, why do you give them that much stock to let them impact your, pleasure in watching a sport? Like, I don't care what political aisle that celebrities, that actors and actresses, just entertain me. I want to go watch a show and I want to laugh. I want to be entertained. I'm not going to let your political beliefs keep me from laughing or being entertained. And the same thing in sports. I don't care about it. Stop over romanticizing these athletes. The NBA's biggest problem is that, all these athletes do now is, like, before we were watching athletes that wanted to do nothing but compete and do everything they could to win championships. We used to get mad at LeBron because he was chasing championships. And I'm like, yeah, those were the days. I miss when athletes were chasing championships. Now athletes are chasing rest days. Now athletes are chasing more off days in their contracts. I miss the days of athletes chasing championships, and I didn't think that was a bad thing. LeBron, he's chasing championships. Yeah, that's what you're supposed to do. You should, everything you do should be about winning championships. Kevin Durant, I hate what he did with going from the Thunder to the Warriors, but my God, we kept telling Kevin Durant, man, you've been so close. You've been to a finals. You've been so close. You had a 3-1 lead on the Warriors, and you let them come back, and then you go join the Warriors. But man, if he stays with OKC and they still don't win a championship, we're blaming Kevin Durant. And then we blame Kevin Durant when he goes and chases a championship. I love those guys. I love the guys that are chasing championships. What I don't love are guys who are constantly chasing off days. Not a fan. And here's why I think you're wrong if you actually think that the NBA doesn't have a problem with that. Everything the league does is to find ways to incentivize teams to do a couple of things. They're putting tournaments in the beginning of the season to try to convince players to play hard in November and December. They're putting the in-season tournament in November and December so that teams will play their players more, so that players, after being paid millions of dollars, will be motivated to go play basketball. Man, I'm getting paid millions of dollars. I'm just not motivated to play basketball. Well, we're going to make the courts look stupid, and we're going to make them all like blue and red and obnoxious yellow, and we're going to help you win a fake championship that has absolutely no weight to it whatsoever. And we're going to do that because we hope that you're going to want to compete and play in it. No one cares about the in-season tournament. Oh, but the ratings are up for it a little bit. Yeah, the ratings are up for a little bit, but I still think it's pathetic that you have to incentive, like, paying these guys isn't just good enough anymore. Now you need to baby them and give them a tournament for a meaningless trophy. The NBA's biggest problem is every headline of theirs is about athletes not playing, athletes demanding more money, athletes demanding trades. Adam Silver having to provide an in-season tournament to motivate players to want to do their job. And now my favorite one just came out earlier today, about an hour ago. Shams came out and said, breaking, the NBA's Board of Governors has passed a new anti-tanking rule that includes expanding the draft lottery from 14 to 16 teams. So we're not getting rid of the draft lottery. We're expanding it now. Now we're going to incentivize more teams to lose. Now, there is a relegation zone where the bottom 3 teams get penalized with lessened chances for the number 1 pick and flattened odds, sources tell ESPN. So the NBA is not really doing anything to fix this. You're still telling teams that lose a lot of games, the best chance for you to get the good players out of college is still to lose games. What's the motivation to win? Why isn't the NBA coming up with some kind of system to motivate teams to go out there and try to win games? Every headline for the NBA, it's for all the wrong reasons. As I said, snobby, entitled athletes demanding trades, athletes demanding off days in their contract extensions, the league having to put a fake tournament at the beginning of the season to motivate athletes to do their job. And now there's more anti-tanking regulations being put in because more than half the league wasn't trying to win this year. They were trying to lose. Gee, why isn't the NBA more popular? Why don't these NBA playoffs feel like a big deal? Why doesn't the NBA feel like it did in the 90s and the 2000s and 2010s? I just don't get it, and I don't support it. I don't understand it. I don't like it. I don't like it. I'm Justin Kinner. It's the Justin Kinner Show, 1410 ESPN Radio. And then you have a sport that I compared it to yesterday in baseball, that baseball for the longest time, or for from 2012 until about 2020, they had good players everywhere. The game was different. It was long. It was boring. Attendance was down. Ratings down. Interest down. There was just a lot. There wasn't a lot of great things about baseball. And then all of a sudden, there was an influx of stars. And there was an influx of athletes and players that people that were different, that, I have to go see that guy. And that's what the NBA reminds me of a little bit right now. They have a lot of really good players, but there's not a lot like Jalen Brunson I talked about yesterday. If you know basketball, Jalen Brunson's a hell of a player. I'm not stopping what I'm doing to go watch Jalen Brunson. I mean, the fact that the Knicks, of all teams, a New York team in the finals with Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns. People are doing this thing with Stephen A. Smith from, I think, a few years ago when the Knicks went after Jalen Brunson. By the way, the Knicks didn't go after Jalen Brunson because they thought he was going to lead them to the finals. They went after him because he's a really good player and he was going to complement a superstar player at some point. Now, good for Jalen Brunson for being the best player on a team that's in the finals right now. And maybe he does lead them to the promised land. And they punish some teams in this playoff run, no doubt about it. But this isn't a sexy Knicks team. I don't feel like I'm watching MJ's Bulls or a LeBron Cavs or a LeBron Heat or a LeBron Lakers or a Spurs with Tim Duncan, Emmanuel Ginobili, and Tony Parker. I don't feel like I'm watching Magic's Lakers. I don't feel like I'm watching I'm not watching generational greatness. I didn't feel like I was watching generational greatness last year with, Halliburton and the Pacers. And I like Halliburton. I like the Pacers. I didn't feel like we were watching. That Tyrese Halliburton, the best player on a team in the finals, that's Jalen Brunson. Really good players. But those are the best players on the teams that are in the finals. That's not Lakers. That's not the Kobe's Lakers in the finals. Paul Pierce, Ray Allen, Kevin Garnett's Celtics in the finals. You know what I mean? It just felt when those teams were in the finals, you were watching something that was larger than life. I don't feel like we're getting that in the NBA right now. It just reminds me of baseball from the 2012 to 2020 range. Good teams, good players. I'm just not hooked. I'm not drawn in. And the NBA is in that spot right now. Baseball dug themselves out of it, and a lot of it had to do with, so somebody said yesterday, I think it was Shaw, we were talking about, I don't understand what people mean when they say, well, they need to market their league better. And I said, well, I don't really understand how you do that. What does that even mean? I don't even think you guys know what that means. I don't know what it means to market your league better. I have never once saw a TikTok and said, now I like that player because that player was marketed on TikTok really well. I've never watched a Wendy's or a Subway commercial and an athlete be in it and say, man, I hated that athlete before, but I can't wait to watch that Subway guy play basketball tomorrow. No, you know what I mean? I don't understand that. I don't think it's any of that. I don't think that there's any, you could say, Shaw said yesterday, well, that, there's probably some things they do behind the scenes that we don't see. Again, that's an easy way out. What do you mean? What is the league doing? Sometimes you just have to have stars that people gravitate towards, stars that feel larger than life. And the NBA is missing that right now. They have something with Wemby. I think if you ask the NBA, because it is interesting, I was one of those that believed parity was going to save the NBA. I actually think it's hurt it. I miss the dynasty days, and the OKC Thunder, they win tonight. They're back in the finals. It would be the first time that the same team has made it to the finals back-to-back years in over 10 years. The Warriors were the last team to do it in 16 and 17, so it'd be 9 years, I guess. Yeah, So you would think that, okay, well, that would be good, but the OKC brand just isn't like sexy enough. So I feel like what's best for the league is for Wembanyama. I think Wemby and the Spurs getting to the finals. That's why I'm pulling for the Spurs tonight. I really want to see the Spurs force a game 7. I want that opportunity to see Wembanyama at Madison Square Garden in the NBA finals. Then I think, but again, then it's more about Wembanyama and the arena he plays in versus the team he's playing against, but that's besides the point. That, to me, is better for the NBA. The matchup that's best for the NBA right now, especially with the Knicks in the finals, Wembanyama and the Spurs. Even OKC, who's going for number 2. I've said this yesterday. If you just ask a casual basketball fan, name a player on the Thunder that's not SGA, tell a casual fan, what does SGA stand for? They couldn't tell you. So, I don't know. The NBA is in a weird spot. But what Major League Baseball did to market its sport better than anything, it wasn't TV commercials. It wasn't TikTok. It wasn't, let's get more of our athletes on talk shows and let's make them more available for interviews. No, it was something very, very simple, something that the NBA needs to take note of from Major League Baseball. What Major League Baseball did was one of the many great decisions that Rob Manfred made. People keep talking about pace of play and the pitch clock and everything else. You know what Rob Manfred did that was the ultimate thing that helped save baseball, in my opinion? No more Reds having to wait 3 to 4 years to play the Yankees. Aaron Judge will play at Great American Ballpark every other year. Aaron Judge will hit against the Reds every single year. Elly De La Cruz will not be alienated from half of baseball. He will play in front of every fan base every season, and he's more visible. And once all the stars in baseball become more visible and more tangible for fans, all of a sudden interest level starts growing up. I don't think it's a coincidence that attendance in baseball started shooting up when you have a chance to see the Yankees come to town every year. And let's not, the Reds may not be a draw to a lot of people, but I guarantee you, if you're in New York, you want to see your Yankees, but I really want to see Elly De La Cruz play. And this Chase Burns cat sounds amazing. I need to see him pitch. Oh, the Pirates in town? Who cares about Pittsburgh? But Paul Skeens, he's on the mound tonight. I have to watch him. Paul Skeens, the fact that in the olden days from a few years ago, the fact that Paul Skeens could probably go to New York one time, play the Yankees one time in his Pirates career, maybe twice, is strange to me. I don't understand how baseball lasted as long as it did doing that in modern times. And I think that's what, so to me, baseball, it wasn't TV commercials. It wasn't talk shows. It wasn't TikToks or social media presence. No, what it was and what it is it's Shohei Ohtani will play in Chicago every year. Or Shohei Ohtani will play, not every year because I get it's every other year, but Shohei Ohtani will play the Cubs every year. You'll be at Wrigley every year, technically, obviously, on the National League side, but I'm talking about like the Yankees, for instance. The Yankees and Dodgers will play every year. The fact that the Dodgers and Yankees, okay, the fact that they would go years without playing is kind of silly. Of course, you look at the fact that the Red Sox and Cubs, the Red Sox, Yankees, Cubs, the fact that they would go as long as they did without playing, I think that matters. That was bad for baseball. But now that the Red Sox play the Cubs every year, the Red Sox play the Reds every year, like those things matter. You're taking your brands and your stars and you're making them more accessible to all of your fans across the country and not just in these little weird regions that baseball was traditionally locked into for so long. So the NBA needs to take note. And it's not about the schedule with the NBA. It's just very simple. Fans want to see the stars. And when the league allows all the fans to get a chance to see the stars all year round, it's funny how attendance goes up. It's funny how ratings go up. It's funny how interest goes up. It's not that hard to figure out. I'm Justin Kinner. It's the Justin Kinner Show, 1410 ESPN Radio, 937-518-1410. We'll be right back.
ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
Your local forecast today: foggy early, becoming sunny by the afternoon, a high of 79. For tonight, clear skies, a low of 53 degrees. And for tomorrow, mostly sunny skies with light winds and a high of 80.